Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my monthly ranking for every new release I saw in July 2019. This is the latest in my monthly series in which I rank all of the new releases I saw for each and every month of the year. All of these were first-time watches and had to become available to me throughout the month of July to be included on this month's ranking. However, I did see a couple of films such as Good Boys and Blinded by the Light, which both have reviews already up on my channel, that don't come out until August, so you will see those in next month's ranking, not here. Leaving us with only 8 films to rank for this month. I know, what a tiny month. I actually was shocked. I'm filming this well before the month is over, because I've already seen everything. There are no other new releases that are playing near me I have yet to watch for the purpose of this ranking. Now, the quick disclaimers, of course, this is just my personal ranking. This is how I vibed with these films. This is how I emotionally reacted to them, how much I enjoyed them personally, not necessarily how good they may be or how critically received they were, certainly not how much they made at the box office. This is just my personal preference ranking for the films I watched. And also, I had to have seen the film. So there may be a couple of independent films or something that came out on Netflix this month that I missed. But obviously, if I didn't see it, I can't include it here on the ranking. Now, July is interesting because although it was very small, only 8 films, one of the smallest rankings of the year so far, it was a pretty quality month. There were a lot of films on here that I really enjoyed, and I'm gonna just say it now. 3 of the films included on this list, my top 3, broke in to my top 10 favorites of the year. That's a pretty high quality level if you ask me. So let's cut the chit chat and jump into the ranking. In at number 8, aka dead last, we have Stuber. Now this just shows, I actually thought Stuber was okay. I thought it was fine for what it was. Our leads had some fun chemistry. There were a couple of funny moments in here. But it's certainly not anything special. It's not anything really to write home about. It was a pretty standard, like, buddy cop type of comedy, and there wasn't much to it outside of that. Logic be damned in this film. Because we don't pay attention to those type of things, right? I didn't hate Stuber by any means. I thought it was perfectly fine, perfectly safe, perfectly pleasant for what it was trying to be, and that really shows the quality of films on this list. I didn't actively dislike anything that I watched this month, so Stuber kind of just was there, and that's why I ended up at number 8. At number 7, I have The Lion King. Yes, a little bit of a misdirect with the t-shirt this month, because the shirt I'm rocking isn't really indicative of how this ranking is gonna go down. But I have a lot of Lion King shirts. And I haven't worn this one yet, so... But the live-action, photorealistic animated remake of the 1994 classic from Disney comes in at number 7. And honestly, it's because it really just didn't excite me at all. It didn't do anything for me, honestly. Of course, the CGI technology is outstanding. These animals look amazing. Probably the best animal CGI we have ever seen to date. And that type of CGI has come leaps and bounds itself over the past decade or so, and this dwarfs anything we've seen. Plus, I actually thought the landscapes looked amazing as well. But it just was so hollow. It was so close to being a shot-for-shot remake on the 1994 animated classic that we honestly could have just swapped out most all of the vocal performances and been good to go. Particularly James Earl Jones. Mufasa's lines, we might as well have just swapped out. They were 95% the same. And unfortunately, it just felt like a beautifully animated film that was completely hollow on the inside, and unfortunately that is like Disney live action MO, honestly. Whether it's their remakes or it's their films such as The Nutcracker in the Four Realms, live action Disney brand is like a pretty present with nothing inside. That's what The Lion King was. All of the emotion, all of the stakes, The interesting things about the 1994 classic were sucked out of this remake to deliver a carbon copy without any of the heart. And when we lose that heart, you lose the magic of the film. So it's only number 7 for me. At number 6, I have Crawl. Another film about an animal right here. But the better film about the animal. And I have to say, though not quite as good as the CGI done in The Lion King, the gators in Crawl looked great, especially when you take a look at that budget. But this definitely was a very nice, pleasant surprise for me in the month of July. I had a lot of fun with Crawl, a lot more than I anticipated. It's a straightforward film that clocks in under an hour and a half and keeps you gripped from start to finish. A very sleek, streamlined plot that just executes the thrills to the max. It's just a blast. Now, it doesn't do anything innovative. It doesn't break the will by any means. And the story itself is pretty bland, and that's why it doesn't break into my top 5. But it knows what it wants to be and executes it as well as could be expected. So Crawl comes in at number 6. At number 5, I have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A film I found to be good, not great. And that's unfortunate when it comes to any Tarantino film. But this one in particular, I was really excited for and hoping to get some great things from. Now, the performances across the board, even from our minor characters, was amazing. Everything about the performances, up, down, sideways, upside down, was stellar. And the attention to detail in regards to set, costuming, just finding an essence of the 1960s era was uncanny. Just stellar work on every single technical front of the film. And then we get to the cinematography and the soundtrack, the music, all of it was amazing and just so much fun. There are so many fun moments here and there throughout the first 2 acts of the film that just pop up, make you laugh, and then we move on. However, I have to say I'm part of the camp that just found the first 2/3 of this film to meander too long. We go on these little side bops and quests and adventures in which most of them don't really drive a plot forward, they don't drive a narrative, and they don't really drive all that much character development. Sharon Tate in particular is just kind of bopping around for the first 2/3 of this movie. I continue to have problems with Tarantino's depiction when it comes to race and his language involving race. This time we move away from his fetishizing of the N-word over to Mexicans particularly, and a little bit of Native Americans. The only reason that really happens is because there's no black people in the film, so he can't get away with using the N-word like he usually likes to do. Plus, when it comes to women in this film, they're there to show off their feet. But they're not there to do all that much more than that. I have a lot that I really enjoyed. Particularly, I'm someone who thought the 3rd act was the best part of the film and really kind of a saving grace of the movie for me. But there's a lot that I took issue with in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So while so much of the filmmaking is stellar, there are so many little problems I have that it only ranks in at number 5. At number 4, I have Spider-Man Far From Home. Much like the Tarantino film, something I really liked, but also felt underwhelmed by. However, this is a movie I really want to revisit because I anticipate that my enjoyment factor of the film might be able to go up a bit upon second viewing, knowing what to expect, having a feel and a vibe of what the film is and what it's trying to be may help me enjoy it just a bit more. And that's not to say I didn't have a fun time watching it the first go-round. Tom Holland is now easily my favorite Spider-Man and Peter Parker. He is so good in this movie. Zendaya, yes, she's amazing. And Jake Gyllenhaal just steals everything. He steals the whole movie. And particularly Mysterio as a character is amazing. I loved what Mysterio brought into this film. However, it struggled in ways that Homecoming did for me as well. It really struggled to find a tone and a setting, a scale within itself. And that seems to be the Spider-Man problem right now. How do we do these one-off films like this for Spider-Man that feel authentic? This one at least addressed it more, which I appreciated. I really like having Peter Parker mentally really conflicted on what he wants to do and what he wants to be about, and him discovering his own journey. I'm glad we finally saw him making his suits and getting to show off that intelligence we know is there, but have yet to see. But then we have these side romances. There's a lot of niggling little like bothers for me in this film. Like there was no need for that triangle. There was no need for really Ned in this whole film. He was pointless, and his romance was pointless. The Aunt May stuff just has already grown way tired for me. But those post-credit scenes were some of the best the MCU has ever had, and the best I can remember in years. Amazing, and they really elevate the whole film when you think about how good and the implications of those post-credit scenes. So Spider-Man Far From Home I thought was fun. Certainly not my favorite Spider-Man film, and far from my favorite MCU film. Happy others are like over the moon about it, but I just thought it was fun, so number 4 it is. At number 3 I have The Art of Self-Defense. Ugh, I loved this movie. Let's just be real though. A dark comedy that takes on toxic masculinity. Count me in pretty much every single time. And then when they're this funny, this inventive, this unique, and intelligent, I'm in. Tenfold, get me in there. Jesse Eisenberg is maybe the best he has ever been in this film. And thankfully, he has given a script to match. What a well-written, well-paced film this turned out to be. Not only does it have a lot to say about toxic masculinity, I love the satire and the humor and how they present it. I thought it was really good. But I also think it presented an entertaining story with entertaining characters. As monotone and as quirky as they may be, you end up rooting for them and caring about them, and that's a feat in and of itself. And a plotline that zigs and zags in the funnest possible way you're hoping it will go down. I just loved The Art of Self-Defense, pretty much top to bottom. I thought this was a great film. In at number 2, I have The Farewell. Ooh, this was tough. My top 2 are like this. I mean, it's pretty much a dead even tie in my book when it comes down to getting the top spot for July. However, The Farewell had just a touch of pacing issue that my number 1 film didn't have. Other than that, I thought this film was virtually perfect. I loved it. I definitely would have liked to see maybe a couple of those side characters expanded more, or the wedding itself discussed a bit more in depth. But honestly, the film we got, what they chose to focus on, was so good that I can't really fault it too much. Awkwafina is like a revelation in this film. I've enjoyed her plenty in the comedies I've seen her in previously, but getting to see her in this dramatic movie was pretty special, and she more than delivers. I really appreciate that she didn't fully get rid of that Awkwafina humor we've come to love, but she delivers so much in this beautifully understated and powerful performance. It's amazing. And honestly, our entire cast feels authentic. I felt as if I were attending this wedding and I was just walking around with this family, with characters that I've known for all my life. And it was amazing. It was a really awesome feeling watching the film. Plus, I connect to it on a really deep level with my own personal relationship with my grandmother being so close. The subject matter of this one hit hard, hit home well, and really connected with me on a personal level that upped the ante of my enjoyment, if you will. It's emotional. It will tug at those heartstrings. It will make you laugh. It will make you smile. It will take you through all of the emotions. And that's why I think The Farewell is such a good movie, and all the way up at number 2 for me. So in at number 1, my favorite film from July is Midsummer. Again, it really could have gone either way between The Farewell and Midsummer. However, when it comes to this film, there was just something that stuck with me. First of all, so much thought and innovation went into making and crafting this movie. Ari Aster, has in 2 films shown that he's pretty much like a masterclass director. I don't know how else to put it. His shot composition, his transitions, the way he frames his shots, the color palettes, everything about how he directed Midsummer was expert level. I don't think it could have been directed any better. And I found the pacing to be beautiful. It is a slow burn horror film that really unfolds at a beautifully tension-filled pace until it really gets steam, and the last act of the film is just like balls to the wall madness. And I love that. That's my favorite type of horror, where we're developing these characters, we're peeling back the layers and the facades of who they truly are and what this situation and scenario actually is until we get to the root of it, and that root is rotten. Plus, the imagery is disturbing. There is a lot of disturbing imagery. The psychological aspects of the film are stellar. The music is amazing. Honestly, there's almost nothing wrong with Midsummer to me. I thought it was nearly a perfectly crafted film. Just know that I would have been gone. I'd have been out. There would have been no chilling, sticking around, sleeping after I saw what I saw. I'll be dragging some of these Swedish folks on my arms if they try to stop me, because I'm getting up out of there. But honestly, what an amazing film, and one of my favorite films of the entire year so far, and by just a bit, my favorite film from July. So that's it. That is my ranking for all 8 films I saw in July 2019. What did you think of how I ranked these films? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And more importantly, make sure to let me know what your ranking looks like for all of the new release films you saw in July 2019. So hit me up either in those comment section down below, or you can hit me up over on Twitter. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. I love you all so much for continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!